I went down the rabbit hole because rabbit holes are made to be gone down. Go down on your rabbit holes. Go down on your holes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the I've Created a Monster podcast. I am your host, Rushni Cope, aka Glamazzini Online, and this is a place where I share my unfiltered thoughts, personal observations, and random musings. If you followed me on my Glamazzini page, you may have remembered my weekly update from eons ago. I have been contemplating changing the tagline of the I've Created a Monster podcast to the tagline of the weekly updates because it's kind of similar. And so it would be something like, this is a bi-weekly random chat where I chat about random things bi-weekly. Let me know what you guys think about that if you watch it or listen on audio platforms. Okay, I am live with my patrons as usual. To be live in the chat while I record this podcast, become a patron at patreon.com/Glamazzini. So I am just going to run through my list of things. First of all, today's headband, I don't know what animal this is. I asked my son when I went downstairs, and you know what's weird about being my son's mom? He didn't even flinch. He is so used to me being who I am that the fact that I was asking him about whether he needed anything before I started this recording with this headband on my head did not even make that child bat an eye. Anyway, I said, hey, what animal do you think this is? And he said, I don't know. I'm going to go with kangaroo because it's really the only thing that makes sense. I bought the Serengeti package of headbands from Amazon, and I don't think that I think it's Serengeti. I don't know if Serengeti is kangaroo, right? Because I don't think there are any kangaroos on the Serengeti. I am also not versed in Serengeti. Yeah. So the only animal that makes sense for this is a kangaroo. If you are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, let me know what animal you think this is in the chat. Okay. Let me give you some personal updates. Last time I told you that I was going to retroactively upload all past episodes of this podcast to my Facebook page for reasons. And one of those reasons is where the money reside. Not that Zuckerberg pays me that much, but it is a monetized platform. And putting it on YouTube, it's not a monetized platform because I started a new channel, right? So your girl needs money. And we'll talk about that in a second. And so I put all of the old podcast episodes on my Facebook page. If you are watching on Facebook, hello, say hi in the comment section. And I will be uploading it to Facebook from now on. I would like to report that right before I recorded this podcast, I received a remittance email from Facebook, which is the money, and I made $17. And listen, that's $17 I did not have. Okay, so let's clap it up for that. Speaking about being in need of money, I shared with you guys on the last podcast that I am back in the job market. And let me tell you something. It is an emotional roller coaster back here, being back in the job market. If you don't know, last May, I was laid off from my part-time job of 4.5 years. I did that part-time job 20 hours a week from January of 2020 until May of 2024, when I was abruptly laid off right before my son's surgery. Okay, it was 0 stars on Yelp. Do not recommend. However, prior to that, I was a primary caretaker for my son, and I had not been in the actual job market since February of 2012. Yeah, so jumping back into now that my son is healing from his surgeries and the whole situation with that. And if you are unaware of what I'm talking about, you're going to have to go back to episode 1 where I detailed what happened to my son. It's a lot. Okay. I have not been in the job market with my son and a caretaker and a partridge in a pear tree. And there's a lot going on in my mind. I also have a lot of trauma when it comes to job search and that kind of thing that I'm not going to go into here. However, I am being audacious and I am being transparent and I am being vulnerable. If you are listening to this and or watching this and you see positions and or no positions and or have a position that you think I would be an amazing fit for, please reach out to me, INI@Glamazzini.com, or inbox me on Instagram. Those are the easiest ways to find me. Let me talk about my hair. I washed my hair a couple days ago and put it in these plaits because I had medical appointments. I'll tell you about that in a second. And I feel like straightening my hair, which is wild work. Because if you know me, I'm one of the seminal people in the natural hair movement, and I'm not a hair straightener. But for some reason, the other day, I just felt like straightening my hair. So I bought this hair straightener that I've seen on Tickety Talks because, hey, if you're going to straighten your hair, you might as well play around with things that you see on the internet. And I may actually do it today. May not. Who knows? I guess you'll have to stay tuned. Speaking about appointments, my son has had 11 doctor's appointments in the past 3 weeks. I actually counted 14 appointments in the past 5 weeks. I am tired. However, it fell this way because last year, all of the appointments just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back because of my son's moving surgery dates. And then the fact that he almost died with the surgery, that made us push appointments back too. And, you kind of always just alley-oop things over to spring. Yeah, not really thinking about it. And guess what? It is March. We are in spring. The alley-oop came to get me, and I am tired. Good news is we have made it through many of the appointments. All is mostly well. Yeah, for the most part, we're batting 95%. Okay, nothing can ever be 100. Well, not with a child that has severe special needs. And our last 2 huge appointments are this Thursday. And then we will just be in regular care mode. However, as you can see, when I alley-oop all his appointments into one space of time, it turns out to be 14 appointments. So you could imagine what that looks like, even when it's spread out. Along with that, I had to have a diagnostic mammogram, you guys, for the first time ever. Usually when I go and get my mammogram, which is once a year, they squeeze the boobies, they tell me I'm fine, I go home. This time, they did not tell me I was fine. They sent me a letter that said they needed additional imaging. Now, kind of freaked me out. However, thank God I have a relationship with my cousins and family members and was like, and they all wrote me back and was like, this happens to us all the time. It's normal. Go do the thing. So I woke up last week, sideways snow, 20 something degrees, snow hitting me all over the place, wind advisory getting blown all over the place, and dragged my cold freezing self into the mammogram office where they really squoze. I mean, she went for it. She gathered up the meat. I guess she needed to see it all and put it in a smaller plaque and just squeezed the living daylights out of me. I was sore for like 2 days. Okay. And looked at it and told me, the doctor said I'm fine. I don't even have to have the ultrasound that was scheduled afterward. Apparently I have dense booby meat, okay, which is, as I've learned, a family trait, all right? So all of that to say, if you are a woman, I don't know what the age is. I think it's 40 now, over 40, go and get your mammogram. I still don't understand why we have to do it squishing our boobs in a plate. I feel like if men had to get their nuts squished between a plate every year, they would be doing ultrasounds for them. Somebody in the medical field just hates women. Next, okay? I'm going to have a section now where I call RIP, which is basically RIP, okay? Rest in peace. First of all, RIP to Skype, because Skype announced that it was shutting down, and I did not know Skype was still open to shut down. Things like Skype are funny to me because imagine having that much of a lead in a market where you are synonymous with the thing that's happening, video call. People wouldn't even say video call, they say they're Skyping. Just like how people wouldn't say they use a ear swab, they use a Q-tip, right? Or like Blockbuster and all these places. Imagine the fumble that had to happen for a pandemic to come upon you, right? Be Skype and not come out of a pandemic and a virtual economy and a virtual world winning. Anyway, RIP Skype. Thank you for your service. Although I don't know if I ever used Skype. I might have used it once. So that's probably why they are going the way of heaven. Okay. Next, RIP to Angie Stone, who passed away from a car accident. Horrible. Horrible. We all saw a video of her performing just a few hours before that. And I haven't seen a lot of details on the car accident. However, her music, her streaming, her album sales have shot up clearly because people are being nostalgic and or just learning of Angie for the first time. No More Rain is my favorite song of hers, which I'm sure is a favorite of many people. And rest in peace to her. Very sad, very tragic and unfortunate end abruptly. Rest in peace to Dwayne Wiggins, who is one of the founding members of Tony, and Tony. Like, it's my anniversary. Those Tony. He apparently was dealing with bladder cancer for the past year and passed away at age 64. And once again, rest in peace and thank you for the music. I also would like to ask, when in the world did Tony become 64? I can't even speak. 64? 64? Now, granted, I know that I'm looking at 50 right here, okay? I'm here and 50's right there. But how they get 64? I don't. Nobody prepares you for aging. Is it that the numbers don't be numbering? Anyway, rest in peace to him, okay? Rest in peace to Gene Hackman and his wife, who were found in their home, both dead. And at first they didn't know what the cause was, but then eventually they ruled that Gene died from pre-existing conditions and his wife died from a virus. So I don't know if she was his main caretaker. She died from the virus and then he died afterward, which is such a sad thing. Such a sad thing. I think they also had a pet that died because the pet was in the kennel and the other pets were still alive because they were not inside the kennel. So the pet in the kennel did not have a caretaker. Listen, let me tell you something. As sad as this was, all it did was like make me so aware of the importance and the impact of caretakers. I think Gene's wife was the caretaker to him and those animals. And when she was removed by her illness and then subsequent death, he immediately had nobody to support his living because he had pre-existing conditions. Caretakers. It's so heartbreaking. And when I heard it, I was like, oh no, she was his caretaker. She was the dog's caretaker. And when she was removed from the equation, they could not sustain life immediately. And I was like, that is one of the saddest things I have ever heard in my life. Okay. And lastly, RIP to Caleb Wilson, who is a student who was pledging at Southern University and died during a hazing ritual. I know nothing about Greek culture. I have learned everything I know about Greek culture moving from the Caribbean to the States and living up here for dang near 30 years now, but that doesn't mean I know much. Okay, I went to a PWI. PWIs, they drink and party, and then you never hear about them after they graduate. I don't know. Black Greek culture persists beyond graduation. It's like PWI, them suckers, they just party, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And so I don't know what happens to get into those organizations, but I heard that he passed away during a hazing trying to pledge at the organization. And that is heartbreaking. Okay. Hey, Blue Isis. So Blue Isis said that's a lawsuit. Listen, it sounded like a lawsuit. It's sounding like a lawsuit. Okay. It's sounding like a whole entire lawsuit. And that is sad. That is so sad. Okay. Oh, Blue Isis said that I asked her what my headband was. And she said that one, she would say that these are bunny ears, but they're yellow. It gives her orange cat vibes. Okay, I said kangaroo. Take it in. Earlier. What do you think about kangaroo? The reason why I said kangaroo is I don't know if you noticed that last time I think I had zebra. I believe that I purchased the Serengeti package. Okay, when I did this. I don't know if that's exactly what I purchased, but I do have lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And even though kangaroo, to my knowledge, does not live on the Serengeti, what the hell do headband manufacturers know? Okay, they do what they do. All right. So I'm going with kangaroo. With these, I'm 100% not sure what they are, but it's really the only animal that fell right in my spirit. Blue Isis also pointed out that I am the headband goat. Okay, here's the thing. I may or may not have already owned 10 headbands. I counted them. 10 headbands before I purchased the Serengeti package. So yeah. Okay. Now let's move on to some social media topics. Citigroup erroneously credited 81 trillion, that's TRILLION dollars, instead of $280 to a customer's account recently, and it took them several hours to reverse the transaction. Now, let me tell you something. When I used to work in corporate America, my coworkers and I used to play this game called Think Like a Criminal. And let me tell you, there was a lady named Cindy. Cindy's never going to see this or hear this, but if you do, hey girl, she was the most unsuspecting woman in the whole group, and she had a criminal mind. And since that game, many, many years ago, I often play the game myself in certain scenarios. The minute I saw that Citigroup had dropped, let me see something. Let me ask AI. What is what is 81 trillion minus 280? How in the good God grease, I don't even know if that's a saying. How in the blue tortilla chip do you over credit my account for 80 trillion, 999 billion, 999,999,720 more than you were supposed to? That's not even a fat finger fumble. Okay? How do you fat finger fumble from $280, not even $300 solid dollars, not even $300 solid dollars, up to 81 trillion? Like you passed Elon Musk, rat. You know, I got to put rat at the end of his name. Okay. At this time. And then, because criminal minded, you've been blinded looking for a style like mine. You can't find it. Who knows where that's from? The minute I saw the article, all I thought was, I'm going to leave the planet and go live on Mars. The way I would have took the money and run. Allegedly, if you're watching this, allegedly, especially if you are an employer watching this to see what my character is, I'm joking. Look around. Do I look like a woman who's serious? I'm not serious. I'm joking. Unless you're going to do it. Just joking. Just kidding. And then they took several hours to realize now they made the mistake. Now, a few weeks ago, I fat fingered and sent an email that was meant for one person on my email list to my whole email list. And seeing this article made me feel so much better. Okay. Allegedly, Blue ISIS. Okay. If you are a recruiter, somebody who wants to hire me, okay, I know how to abase and abound. This is not the place where I abound. It is, but I also abase. Okay. This entire, it's called I've Created a Monster. You knew what you signed up for. Okay. Unserious. Okay. I'm complex. I'm multifaceted. Okay. And when playing a game called Criminal Minded, I immediately tried to figure out how I could get to Jupiter and leave the Earth behind with my money. Next, dangerous chemicals were detected in 100% of braiding hair tested by Consumer Reports. Those articles have been going all over the place. Shake and Go, Sensational, Sassy Collection, all the typical brands that we all slap up in our hair. And I have seen them all over the internet. I did, however, because you know me, I love a good research study and I like to dig deep. I did, however, watch a couple videos from Black scientists digging into the research and how the actual studies were conducted, and saying that it's not as alarming as the headlines make it seem yet. And I mean, there's more nuance to it, but basically the long short that I understood is the way that the studies were done and the measurements that were decided on show nothing different than a minuscule amount of the thing that isn't even the amount that we allow in like lip products. So like we allow more of these chemicals in lip products and consider it safe. And they actually tested the ingestible amount of these things. And when asked about that, they said it's because braiders can be touching it and then put things in their mouth, right? So I'm not saying that the findings are incorrect, because as a seminal, and I keep saying the word seminal member, foundational, okay, legacy member of the online natural hair community, clearly I am an advocate for Black women's self-acceptance, hair liberation, the decolonization of our beauty standard, and of course our safety when it comes to looking cute. Okay, I also love a wig and a braid. Okay, and I have no problem with weaves and all that. I'm just not a big weave girl. Okay, but I like a fake piece of hair. If I bought it, it's mine. Throw it up there, and I want us to be safe. Also, there is specifically one brand that I know of that is Black woman owned that makes plant-based braiding hair for us. Okay. Do I remember the name? No, but I will put it on the screen. So if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, check her out. All right. That might be the way to go if you are concerned. I would like to say that braiding hair, fake hair, creamy crack, which is relaxer, anything that is mostly used by Black women, I mean, they ain't really checking for us that much. So, and they are chemical laden things. So just consider that when you are deciding to use a product. I guess I'm trying to say I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that the testing of these products and the safety measures are low to none. Okay. I'm not shocked. Although all the companies that were contacted said that their stuff is safe. I don't know. Next, Dr. Umar, Chief Hotep, all over the internet. His daughter allegedly put up a video on TikTok and basically let us know that he's a deadbeat and she's been trying to get in contact with her apparent sister that she don't know about, and he was never in her life and this and that and the other. I saw the girl's video, and like many videos on the internet, because I have no proof and because I don't know who you are and you could be making this up, I just scroll on by. Walk on by if you see me walking down the street and I start to cry. Each time we meet, gotta finish it. Walk on by. Boom, 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 boom. Sing with me. Walk on by. Hey, floating right. That's all that I had left. I'm trying to get out. There's no place to get out. Let me hide the pain. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Who remembers when I used to do I Can't Sing, But I Do? And I used to just jump on the internet and sing. I used to just be out here singing. I can't carry a tune. I can lightly assist a tune. Okay. Like adaptive equipment assist a tune, but I can't really carry one. Focus. What was I even talking about? I don't believe things I see on the internet out the gate. I am a critical thinker who thinks critically. I talked about this in whatever episode that was where I was talking about white women in blue bracelets, and a blue bracelet wearing white woman came in my comments and started yelling at me. And I was like, you the problem. Listen, I talked about critical thinking of thinking of criticals. Okay. And so when I see somebody scroll through on the internet and say, Elon Musk is my father, I'm like, whatever. And I just go about my business. I don't automatically believe them. However, everybody's up in an uproar now because most of the internet does not do what I do. And they're like, Dr. Umar is a deadbeat. Oh my God. And all I have to say is, what did y'all think? Sorry. The man is Hotep number one. Isn't one of the criterias for advanced Hotepery spreading your seed and potentially not taking care of your kids? Why are y'all shocked? Even if that is really how he rolls, and she had to come to the internet, which I love that for her. In the year of our Lord 2025, you can just skip over your dad, who might be a Hotep deadbeat, and just come to the internet and be like, hey, anybody know my sister? Because he tripping. Back in the day, we couldn't do that because we didn't have access to people. Now you could just, crank up your cellular device and your little Alex Earl Light, and be like, hey, Dr. Umar's my dad. He's a deadbeat. Anybody know my sister? I did try to stare up in her face and be like, could she be the offspring of him? She could. She don't look exactly like him, but I'll allow it. So anyway, we learned recently that Dr. Umar might be a deadbeat dad. Allegedly. Okay. And I myself, me, Rushni, personally, me, Glamazini, the pineapple loving kangaroo on the screen and in your ear holes, is not shocked. Next, let's talk about trail rides and the fact that with them fans, what? I don't have the right fan, you guys. This one's not going flickety flack. I don't have the right. Oh no. All my good fans are downstairs for the flickety flack, okay? Because I don't like fans that make noise up here because of recording. Ain't that up? Anyway, let's talk about how where them fans at is the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning when I'm supposed to be praying to God, okay? Oh, I got my boots on the ground. Where the man that? Blue Isis says he was cracking that fan. I have a noise deficient fan up here because of recording. Okay, I actually have two, and none of them are going to make the loud noises. All the loud noise fans have been relinquished out of the room. Fun fact about me, I am a fan loving girly. I run hot. I'm from the Virgin Islands, and I always have a fan on me in my bag. I probably own like 25 fans. I'm a fan girly. So this where them fans at situation as a dance with the boot ride, the boots on the ground and the trail ride that has been going viral on the internet. I need all of it. Okay. All I see is trail rides happening every which way. Blacks having fun. Blacks. I love it for us. Having fun. Okay. I have mentally taught myself to dance, although I have not tried to execute it, but I'm an ex-dancer and I can look at stuff and I literally put in the group chat, where can we go do this? I have a friend who used to be a line dancing menace back in the day. Okay. And she was like, I'm trying to travel, but nobody want to go with me. I'm like, it's me. You want me, Jessica. I'm in here. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's me. Okay. She didn't respond because apparently middle-aged life has taken out her gusto to really go for what she wants. And then last night when I was on Tickety Talk, I saw people up at Bliss Restaurant in Florissant doing it. Now, I don't know if they had a whole dance event at the restaurant. I don't know that much about Bliss, except I know it's 30 and over because people in the comments in St. Louis always complaining when they're not 30 because they can't get in. Clearly not a concern for me. Okay. I'm breathing heavy. Okay. Heavy on 50's neck. Let's have a moment for that. So 30 and over is no concern for me. I saw them doing it at Bliss last night and I dropped it in the group chat before I went to bed, and I'm going to have to check the group chat and see what's going on because I need communal collective at least once in my life. I don't have any boots, so I can't get the boots going, but I need to clack fans communally with other Blacks to this song and line dance myself into an oblivion at least once. Okay. Preferably with my former line dancing menace friend. But if she can't get her life together, so be it. Okay. So you have to stay tuned for that. All right. And if you have thrown your fan all over the place and clackety clack, 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 let me know in the comments down below. Next. Okay. There is a TikToker going viral right now named Andre because he put up a video being super vulnerable, crying because he was diagnosed with autism. He finally got his autism diagnosis back and he was about to go to university and he didn't have anybody to say anything to about it. So he just put up a TikTok thing that he was super proud of himself. And Black women followed him in droves. I think he said he had 400 and change followers when he put the video up. And the last time I checked his account, he was at 70 something followers. And it's probably been like a week and a half. Now, the fun part about this young man, and I have to say young man, okay, because I need to make my intentions clear, is his personality popped out on us when he realized that Black women were who were following him. That man has Jamaican heritage, which I heard, but somebody asked and he said it. And the flirtatiousness that nobody expected jumped out the minute that man noticed that it was a bunch of Black women. He got excited. He was like, where y'all come from? And also he does this thing where he'll like step back and pull down. He'll say, hey, everybody, hope you're having a good day. And then he'll stop and go like this. Black women. And if you're listening on Spotify or on audio, he'll step back, pull down his glasses, and slowly deepen his voice and be like, Black women. So that was a good time. Then, as you can expect, whenever somebody's trying to gas up somebody, especially Black women, nobody can ever stand for that for 2 seconds. A woman named Emily comes in and is like, what about Latinas? Okay. And which I don't understand, because he was saying hi to everybody. He was being cool with everybody. He was just singling out Black women. That doesn't mean that you were excluded. You were included. You just weren't singled out. And she couldn't stand that, right? So she said something to him. He responded back to her. She slid in his DMs with all of her tears, her I don't understand why you can't uplift me as well, tears, center me, tears. And he dragged her for filth in the funniest way. Okay. And now every single time he makes a video, he makes a point to elevate Black women and to say something negative about Emily. And when I tell you the joy, now I'm not saying I'm joyous because he's dragging Emily. That's not kind. Okay. That's mean. Andre, you're being mean. Okay. But also it's hilarious. And then my other favorite part of this man's account is the fact that the Jamaican came out. He told us he decided that he's going to be TikTok's first verified gallist. Sorry. Because apparently the flirtation, the man's personality popped out on us, okay? And now when you go to his page, he is legitimately waking up in the morning, giving updates to us, telling us good night, make sure we have a snack before bed, as though all of us are in some sort of communal relationship with him. Now, here's the thing. I'm married, okay, you guys? So when he started doing that, I'm joking around with the little boy like an auntie, okay? And the fact that he said he wants to be a gallus is cracking me the heck up. Okay. The man said he like older women. I said, listen, I'm not in the running. Okay. I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's not true. I'm just here because I'm proud of you for getting your neurological diagnosis. And I'm proud of you for getting into university. And I want to see a Black man win. I also just think his personality is great. And I love the fact that he has created this community for himself, specifically Black women. Because when Black women, Black women, okay? And the Black women are Black womening for him, okay? And I don't know. He might end up married to one of them Black women the way he be out there and they be in the comments giggling. It is the funniest thing. It is the funniest thing, okay? His name is Andre, Andrei, on TikTok, all right? And the last thing that I wanted to point out in the social media space, and then I'm gonna move on, that I forgot to do last episode is I recently learned that Black women don't rock with Cynthia Erivo. Black women don't rock with Cynthia Erivo. Now, if you are unfamiliar, Cynthia is a British-born singer who is in the running for an EGOT, which is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony Award. She has performed in roles like Celie in The Color Purple on Broadway. And if you hear her sing I'm Here, I personally, it changed something in my DNA listening to that woman. I was like, it was like an out of body experience. Something about her voice goes into the chemical bonds in my body. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And she is most recently tossed into the spotlight because she plays Elphaba in the movie adaptation of Wicked with Ariana Grande playing Glinda, which if you have not seen that, amazing. Okay. When she starts singing, or the part in Defying Gravity, when she says unlimited, which you would think is not the part that gets me, but I actually have something hanging here. My word of the year one year was unlimited. You can't see it unless you're on video. It's hanging here. It used to be on my desktop. once again, rearranges my DNA. Rearranges my DNA. The woman is so tiny. And yet something about how she sings, where she sings from, and the tone and sound of her voice it leaves me speechless. That's what I have to say. And yet, because she has risen into the spotlight again because of the movie Wicked, I found out Black women don't rock with her. Blue Isis says, that's a surprise. I wonder why. Well, Blue Isis, once again, you are a Black woman. You're supposed to be the one telling me. Okay? So here's what happened. I went down the rabbit hole because rabbit holes are made to be gone down. Go down on your rabbit holes. Sorry. The other day, my friend and I were laughing about this ad that I saw that was suggestive, perfectly suggestive, but like not too much, but just enough. It was great. And I told her, I said, I wonder how many double entendres I can, like how I can incorporate that level of sensual foolishness into my platform. Okay. Go down on your holes. So I go down this rabbit hole and I find out that basically what had happened, I mean, I might be wrong. So if you're listening to this and you know more about why Black women don't rock with Cynthia, please let me know. But from my very surface level research, I found out that she had tweeted something that says something about ghetto, right? Black women said that she was calling them ghetto. And then something about that, they didn't like the fact that she had called Black women ghetto, and she was now being chosen to constantly portray Black women, Black American women in our media productions across time. That's basically the gist of what I understood. I did see a screenshot of, I believe it was the tweet that people said was her calling people ghetto. And this is one, listen, let me let me drink some water and mind my business here for a second. Drink water and mind my business. Accent change, okay? Everybody here know that when I realize that being born and raised in the Virgin Islands makes me have a different lived experience, I don't have to change my accent up so that you really understand how these things go, okay? When I read a woman tweet, she had say, put on a ghetto American something voice. I think that's what she said. I put in a quote, but me remember the quote, okay? I can't remember, no. A lot going on. You hear me say my child had 14 appointments in the past month and a half. So I don't remember exactly. But it was like, almost like if I was saying, put on my best chutney English accent and then tweet so that in words, I could say this is what it's supposed to sound like. Apparently, she had say ghetto American and then tweet what she was supposed to be tweeting. And when I tell you, people start flipping tables, okay? And I have seen every conjugation of that when I look it up. And I remember I switched my accent so I could understand, because I just we listen and we don't judge. I just listen sometimes because it still don't make sense to me, but I realize it don't have to make sense to me, okay? Because what I'm understanding is that tweet, and maybe there were more that I didn't see, was taken as her calling Black American woman ghetto in totality. I didn't see that in the tweet that I saw. Maybe I did not see the tweet. Therefore, there is a collective understanding that didn't sit well with a bunch of people, and that is just listen. I don't get it. And the reason why I don't get it is probably the same reason why Cynthia could put something like that on Twitter. She probably don't get it either because she's British, right? I don't get it either because I am from the West Indies. And although it does break my heart when these types of delineations pop up, once again, I just let people validate their lived experience. I understand that there is a contingent of Black American women who felt some kind of way about her saying that, and I just sit back, okay? And now I'll switch my accent back to my acceptable Missouri code switch assimilation situation that I do here, okay? Until I'm tired and I can't deal with it, and I just go straight Virgin Island. So Blue Isis said that doesn't equal Black women being ghetto. I did not see what other people have said to when they are explaining to me, but I don't have to see it. You know what I mean? That's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't have to see it. I understand why I wouldn't see it, like I just explained. I also understand why Cynthia wouldn't see it. And I just sit there with it. I let that sit. But I learned everybody's not rooting for this Black woman. And I'm just like, what's going on? Moving along. Okay. Target was boycotted, and Target recently said that their fourth quarter net sales declined by 3% and warned that their February top line performance was soft after leaders asked for a Target boycott when they alley-ooped out of DEI. I asked on my Patreon why everybody had flame and licks for Target more than everywhere else, because everywhere else is dropping DEI. And the response I got was basically that Target had flaunted DEI so much more than everybody, used it as a way to garner sales, and then gleefully pulled out quickly. I mean, with the quickness, didn't have to. Okay. It was just like, haha, just kidding. And that really hurt. That really hurt. Anyway, as I said, I did have somebody tell me that I was going to line Target's pockets when I said that I was going to support Tabitha Brown. I have not been in Target since December. And because of the boycott, I haven't gone back. Was there an avocado mug that Tabitha had in Target that I picked up, put back down, and have been thinking about ever since? Yes. Am I going to miss out on my avocado mug? Possibly. But am I for the boycott? Sure, why not? It wasn't a hard thing for me to drop off. So apparently those are the results of the Target boycott so far. And speaking about boycott, the economic blackout day, which was February 28th, I wanted to see what the results are because I didn't hear anything, even though so many of us shut everything down on a whole day and tried not to buy anything. I found online, quote, there was a slight impact year over year. SimilarWeb principle-driven, data-driven equity analysts told USA Today. I wouldn't necessarily call it a huge impact since that drop is not unheard of, but it was still a mild weakness. So the economic blackout dinged a little bit, like a mosquito bite, maybe. I really didn't hear anybody talking about the results. I heard a lot of people talking about the blackout. I assumed that if the results were more resulty, I would have heard more about it. And when I didn't hear more about it, then there it was. Oh, Blue Isis says, now we're supposed to drop off on Amazon. I did not know that. Girl, we supposed to drop off on Amazon? Now, here's the thing about Amazon on March 14th. I did not know that. It's very difficult for me and my 14 medical appointments with my child to keep track of all of these things. However, I have already been divesting from these types of websites. I'm not off of them, but I have been intentionally kind of pulling back. So for example, when the Target stuff happened, people were like, just go directly to the people's websites. This is Lip Bar. I didn't even know Lip Bar was this company was in Target. I always buy from their website. I have a tendency to go to people's website anyway. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to pull back and look for Black-owned businesses and their direct website. And it did make me sad that some people, like Tabitha, don't have a direct website for me to go to, because my desire, right? Things like the Lip Bar, things like Mented that was there that I buy directly from, then they close, then she's back, although she's hilarious on TikTok. The Mented CEO is on TikTok running her mouth about everything except makeup. Okay. Anyway, she's a good time. I have a tendency to do that anyway. So I did not know about Amazon, but when Amazon is happening, which Blue Isis says Amazon's supposed to be the 7th. Now it's supposed to be happening now. Girl, to the 14th. Okay. This is why they don't work, because I was unaware. Okay. And now we're going to move on. Next, politics. Do I want to talk about politics every single time we have a podcast episode? I do not. Is it possible for me to wake up every morning, be my authentic self, expressing what I'm actually thinking about without talking about politics because of the foolishness going on? It is not. DC Mayor Muriel Bauer will remove the Black Lives Matter painting in the plaza, the ground mural that was put there in 2020 on a 2-block stretch north of the White House, after the murder of George Floyd. When asked about why the Black Lives Matter mural will be painted over, apparently with artwork from kids, I don't know, I think that's what I heard. She said, and I quote, it's fair to say that the White House was not happy about it. Listen, I don't. Sorry. I think that was a little psychological break. Y'all just heard a little psychological break. When I look at the articles, I go in the comment section and all I see is, how does this drop the price of eggs? What the hell does this have to do with what we asked you to do? Like, sorry. But if you didn't know, now you know that giant Black Lives Matter mural is apparently burning a hole in the new administration's spirit. They cannot deal with it. And it is going to be painted over. Next. My whole demeanor changes on this politics section, but I'm going to get through it. 10 Democrats voted with Republicans to censure Representative Al Green, okay, who during Donald, I don't want to say his name, negative 92's joint address to Congress, hopped up and yelled, he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. He got disruptive, okay? Unlike his colleagues in the Democratic Party who were all sitting there with little paddles, like they at an auction, flipping numbers, their little save Medicaid and stuff on paddles and wearing pink. Okay. This man got up. I thought he was going to do the haka scream like the people had done in the New Zealand. But anyway, he got up, he yelled. The speaker told him to shut his mouth. And then he was escorted out. Okay. He was escorted out. 10 Democrats voted to censure him because of that. Now, I had to look up what censure was, and I had to look up these Democrats. Two things. Censure is like a spank, okay, for representatives. I didn't see any actual result or like bad outcome that could happen besides having it on your record that you've been censured. The next thing after censure is actual expulsion. So it's like a smack. It's like a way to reprimand a representative. And 10 Democrats voted to reprimand this man because he jumped up. My question is, why did more of y'all not jump up? How was everybody sitting in there dressed in pink, flipping paddles back and forth? So I just realized I didn't finish that word. And I was like, I'm going to commit to it. Fourth. Okay. How was that what y'all was okay with? Then I went to Mr. Google and looked up the 10 Democrats. And when I tell you that thing pulled up and it was like the picture of the CEOs in a company, it was just whiteness. Okay. Not even olive complexions, just whiteness. And I was just like, boy, this whiteness can sometimes poison a person's brain. Because how? And why? Why would you feel the need to censure this man? Especially when other people have been much more rowdy. What's the woman name? Is it Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon chick? Wasn't she heckling Biden during his address, the joint Congress address back in the day? Ain't nobody censure her. And lastly, and for this one, I have to pull up an article. I saw someone on TikTok talking about words that the Trump administration is trying to ban. And I was like, ain't no way that cannot be real. I contemplated even making this entire episode me just reading the words, but it's a lot and I don't want to. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene is bleach blonde, butch body, bad built butch body. Okay. Coined by Jasmine Crockett. But there is going to be a little bit of reading because I feel like this is necessary. So as I said, I don't believe anybody on TikTok when they tell me anything. I always go and look for the primary source. And although I wasn't able to find a primary source, I did find the source from which this person pulled this. And basically, it's an article in the New York Times that is posted on March 7th of 2025 entitled, "These Words Are Disappearing in the New Trump Administration." Okay. And it reads, as President Trump seeks to, I want to say negative 92, but I also want to read the words. Did you see how my spirit, like, that was like a primal growl that came out of my shanana when I said president. I'm not going to say it again. Seeks to purge, as he seeks to purge the federal government of woke initiatives. Am I going to make it through this? I am. Agencies have flagged hundreds of words to limit or avoid according to compilation of government documents. I would like to point out that the literal opposite definition of the word woke is asleep, unconscious. If you are not awake, you are asleep, you are unconscious. Okay. The words include, let me say this. From my understanding, the words are terms appearing in government memos, official and unofficial agency guidance, and in other documents viewed by the New York Times. So I was not able to see primary sources because the primary sources are like a bunch of memos and different things. Some ordered the removal of these words from public-facing websites. Others ordered the elimination of other materials, including school curricula in which they may be included. Some of them were advising caution in using the terms without instituting an outright ban. Okay. You will not believe the words on this list. I can't read the whole list, but if you go to the New York Times website and look for these words are disappearing in the new, his name, administration. Some of the ones that jumped out to me are accessible. Because I'm a mom of a son with special needs, and I'm not understanding how accessible got on the list. Inclusive, inclusion, inclusiveness, inclusivity, diversity. Of course, equity and inclusion, but disabilities and disability, like that doesn't seem like a word you need to use to say somebody isn't as able-bodied as a typically developing human. Diverse. Advocacy is on here. Anti-racism is on here. Bias is on here. Intersectionality. Inequality is on here, you guys. Indigenous community is on here. Marginalized. Marginalized is on the list. Non-binary. Black. The word black is on this list. Biased, biased toward, biases towards. I guess they needed to make sure they had every conjugation. Can't even speak. Oppressive, oppression, political, cultural sensitivity is on this list. To be removed. Diverse backgrounds, diverse communities, diverse community, diverse group, diverse groups, diversifying, diversity. What's going on? Race and ethnicity. Racial inequality, racial diversity, racial identity, racial justice, racism, segregation. It's 2025, you guys. This kangaroo cannot believe it. Gender. Female is on the list. So let's mark this. Black is on the list. Female is on the list. Remember that, okay? They threw in Gulf of Mexico because, hey, why not? Okay. If you're going to do something ridiculous, you need to make it official. Tribal is on this list. Trauma and traumatic. What? So now we're trying to get rid of consciousness of trauma and traumatic things? Health disparity, identity, women. The word Black is on the list. The word female is on the list. The word woman is on the list. Women. The word disability is on the list. The word accessible is on the list. I would like to point out that the word white is not on the list. The word male is not on the list. The word men is not on the list. The word able-bodied is not on the list. The word inaccessible is not on the list. It's worse and there's more. I'm not going to read any of them. Matter of fact, I'm going to close it because it's making me sad because I was having a good time until I wasn't. I was watching a clip on TikTok yesterday from Jubilee, which is a YouTube channel that does all of these like different interview and guess who's this and conversation topics type content. And the specific clip was a older white man talking to a younger white woman. And I think the question that they were going back and forth about was diversity or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the topic was, but I do remember that she sitting there, blonde hair, blue-eyed, looked really perplexed that this white man did not want, in her words, a more I don't think she said phobic, something, and homogenous, assimilated. She kept saying assimilation, assimilated. Don't you want it to be assimilated? And when he asked for the country, and when he asked her, what the hell are you wanting us to assimilate to? She was like, the foundation of the country, which is white and Christian. Like, she looked so shocked that this man had a different thought than her. And her question to him was like, how could you not think this? This is what we're supposed to think. And when I tell you, I was like, she kept saying assimilation, assimilated. Isn't that what we're all doing? Like, isn't that what we should all do? And like, by putting in all of these diversity things and all that kind of stuff, aren't we stopping, in her mind, we were stopping people from the ultimate goal of being an American, which is a homogenized assimilation. And he looked at her so confused, and he said to her, like, listen, I don't think that you and I are ever going to be able to agree, because just like foundationally, we are not on the same page. But just so you know, no, that is not the goal that I think. Like, he was like, what did you think the goal was? And she was like, assimilation, like, duh, America, like white Christian, duh. And when I tell you two things, and then I'm gonna end the podcast, because what? Okay, my brain can't. I gotta go put more electrolytes in this water to recoup the energy lost from this politics section, especially that New York Times article. Two things. In 2015 and 2016, in negative 92's first term, people in my family, not blood family, I'm looking directly in the camera, okay? Married into family. I will make that distinction. Happily voted for him. Proud of it. Jesus, according to them. And at Thanksgiving that year, in front of LGBTQIA family members that they were unaware of, they revealed to people that they were voting, and the poor LGBTQ people were like, what? Anyway, it was a whole thing. Made me sad. Had to tend to somebody who had a migraine after that, because what do you mean? But listen, sometimes you got to learn things about your family members, okay? I said to them, it's like evil has been emboldened, and the underbelly of society is now proud to jump out and say the quiet thing out loud. And they, one of them specifically, looked at me with the look that they always have on their face. I'm trying to be nice, okay? And not reveal too much. Unless somebody's listening to this who knows who I'm talking about. Looked at me with the awareness of a German Shepherd. You know when you look at a dog and sorry, that's not nice. Rushni, be nice, Rushni. And said, well, it seems like evil. You're making voices. Stop, Rushni. It seems like evil has already been emboldened. That's what they said. And they were specifically referencing ligabatoire, okay, in front of, unbeknownst to them, ligabatoire people, okay, who then had a migraine and I had to go tend to them. Fast forward now 9 years. Clearly have not had conversations with that person about this because I like peace and I do not surround myself with people who display an adherence to what I perceive as low cognitive functioning. I got that out so nice. But I do wonder often what they think about women like this woman on the Jubilee video, sitting there and saying out her hot mouth that the goal is basically white supremacy, assimilation. Girl, assimilation? The goal for me, and the gentleman on the Jubilee video did say, America's a melting pot, not an assimilation machine. And she looked so confused. To me, the goal is belonging in the sense that Brene Brown offers it to us, which is we come as we are. And we all get to be our fully authentic, expanded self. And America is a melting pot. Okay? A chunky stew, not a puree. But I do wonder how my relatives feel about people saying white supremacist things out loud. I also still wonder if they have detached themselves so much from reality in the name of Jesus, which I read my Bible every day. That's not what Jesus meant. Y'all, listen. Somebody has to be the weeping and gnashing of teeth crew when we get to glory. And I pray every morning it's not me. But I always wonder when Christians read the Bible, if they realize that somebody got to get up there and he got to tell them, depart from me, I never knew you. And I just be like, how did y'all get there? Okay. I do wonder what my family members think now that they are on the side of white supremacists. And they're not white. They're also not supreme. Sorry, I had to say that. Sorry. That cracked me up. I am such a funny kangaroo today. Oh my God. I wonder what they think. I wonder if, like many things I've seen them done in their lives, they dissociate into la la land to adhere to something that really, if you stop and look at it, don't make no sense. The other thing I want to say, and then I'm going to move on, is that gentleman and another video recently were two videos that I saw that pinned something in my head that I am going to move forward with from this 48th year of life until I leave this physical experience in this meat suit. And it was a decision to just not interact, and not interact in a childish or immature way, to ghost or to hide from people, but to boldly, audaciously tell the person, you and me don't seem like we're going to be on the same page. You have an opportunity to live your life, and I'm going to back away from you now and just, reclaiming my time. I watched a video on TikTok of a woman who was responding to a comment from somebody who was like, don't you want to have a conversation about this? Like, we're an adult. Don't you this, don't you that, don't you the other, right? And she calmly put the comment up and she said, no. And I said, well, damn. Okay. And apparently their beef was some sort of, listen, it was white people business. I was in white people business. Okay. I didn't comment. I didn't say anything. I just observed. Okay. We listen and we don't judge because you're putting it on the internet. So I can be up in it. Okay. Apparently the woman leaving the comment is a TERF. I didn't know what this was. I had to look it up. TERF, trans exclusive something feminist, basically a feminist, except they don't do trans women. Okay. They like, we for biological women only. There's a word for that, apparently. I don't know much about it, but I had to look it up. And the woman who is responding to her is married to a trans person. I don't know what the person is, male or female. And she was like, I don't want to have a conversation with you. Because we are coming from two different foundational concepts. And that is not going to be a viable thing for me, way for me to use my time. And when I tell you this moment on, I'm using that. That woman and the man on the Jubilee video said, no, thank you. I have and I don't know this to be true, I have often asked in therapy, what happens when you dig to the bottom of the foundation of concepts and how you show up in life, like how you perceive life to be with another human being, and you realize that you got down there and both of y'all are working from two different realities entirely? It's a thought that I've had for many, many years in different contexts. I believe that that is inherently the issue that we are running into in personal spaces when it comes to things like disorders, narcissism, etc., and the victims thereof, all the way up to corporate political spaces when it comes to things like fascism, which to me appears to just be political narcissism. I don't know. I might be wrong. Like I said, I'm just a woman on the internet who's supposed to be talking about light topics right now, but y'all know how my brain is. Dressed with a kangaroo headband on, okay? And thinking deep thoughts. I think that there is just a difference in how some people foundationally perceive lived experience. And on one side, there is this self-absorbed, rigid, black and white inability to see and conceptualize differences. And so the goal is justice and black and white adherence to an assimilation mean. And that turns into narcissism and fascism and all of that. And then there are the people on the other side who are more like, well, not even the other side. There are the people who are inclusive, right? Where they're just like, listen, black, white, gray, it's all welcome. Be yourself. Glitter, polka dots, kangaroos. You want to dance, you want to sing. We don't care. We all, and there's just this constant tussling back and forth. Do I know the answer to it? No. Have I figured it out? Absolutely not, because I am one of the people who is in the grays, right? But when I hear somebody say assimilation, I couldn't believe it. I did, you know what? I lie. I did go in white people's business because I did comment and say, this is sad. I wonder if she even knows who she is. That's what I did comment. Because if you think the goal is assimilation, you have spent zero time figuring out who you actually are away from the assimilated blob. Blue Isis says, absolutely. The foundation is fundamentally off. I know I can't get down with that. And, you know, it makes the world feel unsafe because you have to challenge what you thought was an understanding of the human experience. But at the same time, once you get past the consciousness of its existence, and I'm not past it fully yet, so I'm just thinking aloud, you realize that, you know, as old people that diverge now and say God made a world. Okay. Now, I do find that the people who cause the most harm are the rigid, black and white, narcissistic, fascist type humans. The rigid ones are the narcissistic, fascist type ones. That's what I have experienced in my lived experience. And I think that we are all experiencing it now. It's bubbled up to being like in the limelight. Do I know what the answer to it is? I don't. Okay. But I know what I'm choosing to do, which is jump out here on the internet with my kangaroo headband on and express myself. Okay. Because expression is the opposite of depression. This entire lived experience is a playground of exploration. And I'm going to do playing, exploring, and creating. Okay, this video is sponsored by patreon.com/Glamazini and the Black Woman Healing Fund, a fund to support Black women on a healing journey. To support the fund and to be in the chat live when I record, become a patron at patreon.com/Glamazini. And don't forget to show up, to speak up, to F something up, and create your own monster. Bye, y'all.